You ever read a book that feels like it was written just for you? Like someone reached into your chest, pulled out every doubt, every what if, every quiet ache you've tried to ignore, and turned it all into words? That's what The Midnight Library by Matt Haig did to me. I wasn't ready for how close it hit to home. It wasn't dramatic or flashy. It didn't slap me in the face with twists or shocking reveals. It just got me, in the way only something truly honest can. This book wrecked me in the best way. Not because it made me cry, I mean, it did do that, but because it made me feel seen. And I think that's why it stuck with me so much. Because even if you haven't stood on the edge like Nora does, even if you've never actually thought about ending it all, we've all had those days where we wonder, what if I'd done things differently? What if my life could have been better than this? Nora Seed isn't some perfect hero. She's tired, broken, overwhelmed. She's not failing at life in a loud, obvious way. She's just quietly drowning. And if you've ever felt that kind of slow suffocation, if you've ever scrolled through other people's lives and wondered why yours doesn't measure up, then you'll get her. We've all asked ourselves, what if? But Nora gets to live that question. And honestly, that's terrifying. And beautiful, and exactly what I needed to read when I did. So let me tell you about her, about how she got to that point, about how everything fell apart, and how, somehow, she found a way to come back. Let me take you into Nora's world before the Midnight Library. The real one, the messy, painful, ordinary kind of life that makes you want to crawl under the covers and stay there. Picture this: a rainy night in Bedford, England. Gray sky, wet pavement, a small flat above a shop that smells like old toast and forgotten dreams. Inside, Nora's curled up on her couch, wrapped in an oversized eco-warrior t-shirt and tartan pajama bottoms. Her cat, Volts, is gone now, hit by a car. Ash, the guy she used to work with, showed up to break the news. She followed him outside, saw Volts lying still under a flickering lamppost, and instead of crying, she felt something worse. She felt envy. Yeah, envy, because he was free, peaceful, done. And she was still here, still trying, still failing, still wondering why nothing in her life seemed to fit. She scrolls through social media, watching everyone else's highlight reels, the weddings, the babies, the promotions, the vacations. Everyone looks happy. Everyone looks like they've figured it out. Meanwhile, she's wearing yesterday's clothes, drinking wine straight from the bottle, staring at a ceiling that feels like it's closing in. This is the kind of depression that doesn't scream. It just folds in on itself. It doesn't come with dramatic music or thunderstorms. It comes with silence, with small moments stacking until they become unbearable. She's fired from her job at the music shop later that day. Neil, her boss, tries to be kind, but says things like freedom, which feels like a joke when you're already trapped in your own head. She begs him not to let her go, but he doesn't see the cracks behind her eyes. He doesn't know that every rejection, no matter how small, is another stone added to the pile. She walks out into the cold, past places that remind her of who she used to be. The swimming pool where she trained as a kid, the hospital where her mom died. The memories are ghosts, haunting her with what she lost, or never really had. She texts Izzy, her best friend from college, hoping for a lifeline, but Izzy reads it and doesn't reply. That silence stings worse than words. 5 hours later, she forgets a piano lesson with Leo, a talented kid she teaches, and his mom snaps. He's thinking of giving up altogether. Even Mr. Banerjee, her elderly neighbor, doesn't need her to pick up his meds anymore. Back in her flat, surrounded by cat food cans and old philosophy books, she feels like she's sinking into the earth's core. She calls her brother Joe, voice trembling, leaves a voicemail. "I love you, Joe. This is about me." By 11:22 p.m., she writes a note. "I had all the chances, and I blew every one of them." It's devastating, and it hits hard because it's not exaggerated or over the top. It's just true. Not one big thing broke her. It was everything, all at once. A dead cat, a lost job, rejection, silence, regret, loneliness. It wasn't just sadness. It was exhaustion, like she'd been carrying a backpack full of bricks for years and finally collapsed under the weight. And yet, this part of the story gutted me not because of how low she went, but because of how relatable it was. Because I've had nights like that, you probably have too, where you scroll through people's lives and wonder why yours doesn't look like that. Where you wake up and feel like you're faking being okay. Where you keep putting one foot in front of the other, even when it feels pointless. Nora isn't special. That's what makes her story so powerful. She's not a hero. She's not fearless. She's just someone who got tired of pretending everything was fine. And in that moment, when she decides to end it, that's when everything changes. Because she doesn't die. She wakes up in the midnight library. And that's where the story really begins. So Nora doesn't die. She wakes up somewhere else entirely. Somewhere impossible. The air is cool, still, and smells like old paper, and something faintly electric, like the moment before a storm breaks. She's lying on smooth stone floors, surrounded by towering shelves that stretch so high they disappear into darkness. The whole place feels frozen in time, like it's been waiting for her. It's midnight here. Always midnight. There's no sun, no moon, just this quiet hush, broken only by the sound of her own breathing. A clock hangs on the wall above her, ticking toward 0. No hands moving, just stuck. And then she sees them. Endless rows of green books, jade, forest, emerald, moss, every shade of green you can imagine, packed tightly onto the shelves like secrets waiting to be opened. Each one labeled in gold ink. Each one hers. Every book is a different life. Every one is a version of herself that could have been. Some are lives she dreamed of. Some she barely considered. But all of them, every single one, were shaped by choices she didn't make. This isn't heaven. It's not hell. It's possibility. And standing at the center of it all is Mrs. Elm, still wearing her cardigan, still carrying that same calm warmth from when Nora was a kid playing chess in the school library. Her face hasn't changed, not really, but there's something deeper now, like she's holding back centuries of stories behind her eyes. "Welcome to the Midnight Library," she says gently. Nora doesn't understand at first. How is this real? Why is she here? But Mrs. Elm explains, it's between life and death, a place where regret lives, where every what-if takes shape. And Nora, well, she had more than most. Then comes the Book of Regrets. Mrs. Elm slides it across the table like it's been waiting for her. Heavy, gray, unassuming. At first, Nora hesitates. You can feel the weight of it even before she opens it. Like it's not just paper and ink, but everything she's ever carried and tried to forget. She flips through the pages, and it's like being punched in the chest. I regret not telling my father I loved him. I regret quitting the labyrinths. I regret leaving Dan. I regret not going to Australia with Izzy. They come fast and furious. Some small, flickering regrets, the kind we all sweep under the rug. Others huge, gaping wounds that never healed. Her dad's disappointed face flashes in her mind. Her brother Joe's silence after she ruined his band's big chance. Dan's hurt eyes when she walked away from their wedding. The words swirl, repeat, pile on top of each other, until they're not just thoughts anymore. They're physical, crushing. Her lungs tighten, her throat closes. It feels like invisible hands are squeezing the breath out of her. She gasps, "Make it stop!" And Mrs. Elm, calm but firm, says, "Close it, Nora." She slams it shut, sinking to the cold floor, shaking. The relief is instant, but the ache lingers, like she's been cracked open. That book, it wasn't just a list, it was a mirror, and it showed her everything she'd been running from. This place is fragile. That much becomes clear soon enough. Because the Midnight Library isn't just some magical archive. It's tied to her will to live, to keep going. And right now, she's slipping. You can feel it in the air, the way the shelves tremble slightly, the way the lights flicker, like the whole thing might vanish if she gives up completely. It's weird. It's eerie. It's beautiful in a way that hurts. And it's here, between life and death, that Nora gets her second chance. Not because she deserves it, not because she earned it, but because she's still here. And sometimes, that's enough to start again. So Nora opens the book, and suddenly, she's not in the Midnight Library anymore. She steps outside into the cool night air of Oxfordshire, the sky dark and heavy with stars. A breeze carries the scent of wood smoke and damp earth. She looks around. There's a pub behind her, warm light spilling out onto cobblestones. Chalkboard signs advertise Pie and Pint Night in handwriting that feels eerily familiar. Because it's hers. This is the life where she stayed with Dan, where she didn't walk away 2 days before their wedding. Inside, the pub hums with laughter and clinking glasses. Fairy lights twinkle above oak beams, casting golden pools of light over mismatched tables. There are photos on the walls. Dan holding her hand at a farmer's market, them laughing by a fire pit in the garden, and there, curled up by the hearth, is Volts. Not her old cat, a new one, but still, Volts. At first, it feels perfect, like stepping into a dream she never thought she'd get to live. But then Dan walks in. He's wearing an apron, pouring pints behind the bar, smiling, but his eyes are tired. He's drinking more than he used to. His laugh has a cynical edge now. When she shares a random fact about mountain ranges, he chuckles but says, "You and your bloody trivia." Like it's a joke that's worn thin. That line gutted me. Because this was supposed to be her happy ending. But instead, it's just different pain. Later, over dinner, he mentions the stuff with Aaron. Just casually, like it's normal, like he expects her to know what he means. It hits her like a wave. He cheated, maybe more than once. Her heart clenches. Her hands tighten around her fork. She goes to the bathroom, stares at the mirror. The woman looking back isn't quite her. Different hair color, older, tired. She whispers, "Good luck," to herself. Not as encouragement, as goodbye. Nora fades back to the library, shaken, because she finally got what she thought she wanted, and it was hollow. Next, she picks another life, one that had always haunted her, the one where she said yes to moving to Australia with Izzy. No regrets, no missed opportunities, just sunshine, adventure, and the closest thing she ever had to a sister. She wakes up in Sydney, standing in a saltwater pool carved into the rocks, waves crashing nearby. The sun is rising, painting the horizon in gold and pink. She's tan, strong, her body lean from years of swimming. For a second, she breathes easier. This could work. This could be the life. But when she gets back to her flat, the moldy smell hits her. Her roommate rants about cats being mind control parasites. And worst of all, her phone buzzes. She scrolls through messages, expecting to see Izzy's name. Instead, she sees a headline. British woman killed in New Wales road collision. Izzy's face fills the screen. Smiling. Gone. Nora's stomach drops. She reads the article. Izzy died in a car crash, driving to Nora's birthday party. Nora collapses onto the couch, clutching her chest. This wasn't supposed to happen. She came here to save their friendship, but even in this life, Izzy slipped through her fingers. She's still taking antidepressants, still writing poetry about loss, still carrying scars on her arms. The world feels smaller now. The harbor's sparkle mocks her. And for the first time in this life, she realizes some regrets don't go away just because you change paths. Sometimes they follow you. Turns out, even the brightest lives have their shadows. She tries again. This time, she chooses the life where she's stuck with competitive swimming, where she trained harder, pushed herself further, became an Olympian. She wakes up in a sleek apartment overlooking a training facility. The water glimmers under morning light. She's fit, disciplined, respected. People call her Nora Seed OBE. She gives TED Talks. She's successful, but alone. Her mom died earlier, in this version. Her dad's distant. She doesn't have friends, just acquaintances who respect her but don't really know her. There's no Ash, no Leo, no Mr. Banerjee. She watches footage of herself winning races and something feels off. She didn't earn these victories. They were handed to her by a choice she never made. And without struggle, without growth, they feel empty. She visits her father's house. He's proud, sure, but she can't connect with him because none of this feels real. None of it was built by her. This life had success, but it wasn't hers. She didn't grow it. She just stepped into it. She flips open another green book. This time she's in Svalbard, a climate scientist living near the North Pole, surrounded by glaciers, polar bears, and research papers. The air bites her lungs. Snow crunches beneath her boots. The silence is thick, almost sacred. She's found purpose here. She studies ice cores. She warns the world about melting glaciers. She feels like she's making a difference. But she's still lonely, still haunted. She misses warmth, misses people, misses home. She meets Hugo, another slider like her, drifting between lives, content to never settle. It unsettles her, because she wants something real, something rooted. Even in this life, with all its beauty and meaning, she feels like a ghost passing through. This place gave her clarity, but not peace. Finally, she tries the life where she said yes to Ash, the surgeon who showed up at her door the night everything fell apart. She wakes up in Cambridge, in a cozy bedroom beside Ash. Their daughter Molly is 4. She hears tiny footsteps down the hall, then a little voice. "Mommy?" Nora's heart stops. She rushes to the room. Molly's in bed, blanket wrapped around her like a burrito, eyes wide and trusting. "Bad dream?" Nora asks. Molly nods. "Can I sleep with you?" Nora scoops her up, holds her close. She carries her back to bed. Ash stirs, murmurs, "Nor," and wraps an arm around her. Everything feels right. They eat breakfast together, they talk about school drop-offs, they kiss while making coffee. She texts Joe. He texts back. She plays piano with a student named Leo. She lives, and for the first time she thinks, maybe this is it. Maybe this is the one. But then reality creeps in. She learns Mrs. Elm died 3 weeks ago in this timeline. Leo dropped out of music lessons because she never showed up. And worse, this life doesn't belong to her. She didn't build it, she just borrowed it. When Molly falls off her tricycle and says, "I'm all right," through tears, Nora's love is fierce, but so is her fear. Because she didn't earn this. She didn't grow into it. And deep down, she knows it's not truly hers. So here's the thing about regret. It doesn't just sit quietly in your chest. It builds. It festers. It waits for the right moment to come crashing down around you. And for Nora, that moment is now. The Midnight Library, this vast, impossible place where time stands still and every green book holds a life she almost lived, is falling apart. Literally. The shelves tremble. The books burn. Pages fly through the air like ash caught in a storm. Sparks crackle from the stone ceiling. The walls groan like they're screaming, "You can't keep running!" And in the middle of it all, Nora. She's not calm. She's not brave. She's just breaking. Because she tried everything. She jumped into lives she thought would fix her. She chased happiness like it was a prize at the end of a maze. But no matter how many times she changed the path, something always felt off. Like she was wearing someone else's skin. Like she was borrowing joy instead of growing it herself. And now, standing in the wreckage of all those what-ifs, she finally understands. There is no perfect life. Not for her, not for anyone. Only this one. Only the one she already has. But she's slipping. She's giving up. And the library knows it. Mrs. Elm, her guide, her anchor, the only person who stayed constant through all these lives, looks at her with fear in her eyes. "It's you, Nora," she says, barely audible over the roar of collapsing stone. "This place exists because of you. You're giving up at the worst moment." Those words hit like a slap. She is giving up, even now, even after everything, even when she should be choosing to live. And suddenly, she screams it out loud. "I want to go back. I loved them." Her voice cracks on the last word. She loved Ash. She loved Molly. She loved the life she stepped into like it was a dream she never wanted to wake from. But it wasn't hers. And maybe that's what made it beautiful. Because she didn't earn it. She didn't grow into it. She didn't fight for it. And deep down, she knows that's why it couldn't save her. So she runs. Through smoke and falling debris, dodging burning pages and shattered wood. She sprints toward the 11th aisle, third shelf from the bottom, where Mrs. Elm pointed. A blank book. No title. No promise. Just possibility. She grabs it. Her hands are shaking. Her heart is pounding. And as the ceiling caves in behind her, she opens it. The pages are empty, staring back at her like a challenge. She writes, "Nora wants to live." Nothing happens. She tries again. Nora decides to live. Still nothing. The library shakes harder. The world is ending. And then, she lets go. Let go of the fantasy. Let go of the chase. Let go of the belief that happiness is something you find if you just pick the right version of yourself. Instead, she presses the pen hard against the page and writes 3 words. I am alive. It hits her like a wave. This isn't about picking a life. It's about claiming the one she already has. It's about showing up, even when it hurts, even when it's messy, even when it feels like she's failing. It's about realizing that living isn't about escaping pain. It's about staying anyway. And just like that, the library implodes. Light floods the space. Dust swallows her. And she wakes up, back in her flat, gasping, alive. That moment, that final choice, it wrecked me. Because it wasn't dramatic or poetic. It was raw, real, human. She didn't choose some magical life where everything works out. She chose the one she already had, the one with grief, with loneliness, with regrets that will probably never fully go away. But also, the one with small moments of joy, with people who care, with music, with second chances, with the quiet miracle of being alive. She stopped looking for the perfect life. She started reaching for a life. And that made all the difference. Because she wasn't trying to escape anymore. She was trying to return. To herself. To the world. To the messiness of being human. And honestly, that's something we could all use a reminder of sometimes. So Nora wakes up, not in some perfect life she borrowed, like a costume, not in the warm arms of Ash and Molly. She wakes up in her own bed, in her flat above the shop. Volt's cat bed is still there, empty. The air smells stale. And for a second, panic grips her. This is what she chose? Back here? But then, she breathes. She feels it. The weight in her chest isn't gone, but it's different now. It doesn't crush her. It just is. She stumbles to the bathroom, barely making it before throwing up, shaking, crying, gasping like she's coming up for air after drowning for years. Her body feels raw, like it remembers every life she tried on, every near miss, every escape she almost took. She calls Mr. Banerjee, her elderly neighbor who used to rely on her, and he answers, sleepy but kind. "Nora, are you all right?" She can barely speak through the tears, but somehow she manages, "No, but I want to be." He helps her get to the hospital. And when Joe shows up, oh man, that moment got me. Because they don't hug or cry or have some dramatic reunion. They just sit, side by side, quiet, like two people who've both carried pain and finally see each other again. Joe tells her about his husband Ewan, about their baby, about how he never came to visit because he thought she didn't want him around. And Nora, heartbreaking, says, "I did. I always did." That silence between them, it wasn't hatred. It was grief, misunderstood, unspoken. And now, finally, it's healing. She starts small. She texts Izzy, just one message. "Hey, I miss you." And Izzy replies with whale pictures and a promise to visit. It's not instant forgiveness. It's not instant joy, but it's something. A thread, a lifeline. She even goes back to Leo, her piano student, the kid she once forgot, who might have given up on music because of her. When she knocks on his door, his mom opens it, surprised. "You're really here," she says. And Nora nods, voice quiet. "Yeah, I'm here." Leo runs up behind her, grinning, already dragging her inside to play. And as she sits at the piano bench, hands trembling slightly, fingers finding the keys like an old friend, she realizes this matters, even if it's messy, even if it's small, even if it's imperfect. Then there's Ash. She sees him from across the street one day. He's walking out of the clinic, white coat flapping in the wind. She almost walks away. But then she smiles, not a flirtatious one, not a desperate one, just a smile. Because she gets it now. She loved him in another life. But this one has its own beauty, its own meaning. And maybe, just maybe, she doesn't need to live in someone else's dream to find peace. The world still hurts. She still feels regret, still carries scars, still misses Volts. But now she looks at the sky differently, at flowers, at people, at herself. She visits Mrs. Elm, now Louise, in a care home. They play chess. Louise says, "You were never a pawn." And Nora finally understands. She wasn't meant to pick the perfect life. She was meant to live the one she had. Living isn't about erasing the past. It's not about forgetting the pain or pretending everything's okay when it's not. It's about choosing to keep going anyway. Choosing to show up. Choosing to try. Choosing to believe that even the messiest lives are worth living. because hers was. And so is yours, and so is mine. She didn't erase the past. She changed her relationship to it. And that made all the difference. Let me tell you something real. We all carry regrets. Some big, some small. Most of them somewhere in between. We all wonder what would have happened if we'd taken that job, said yes to that date, stood up for ourselves, held on a little longer, let go a little sooner. But here's the thing, none of us get to live every version of our lives. We only get this one. And sometimes that's enough. Because life isn't about getting it right all the time. It's about learning to live with the moments we wish we could do over, to grow through the pain instead of being buried by it, and to remember that even when we feel broken, we're still whole enough to choose tomorrow. Nora Seed didn't wake up healed. She woke up human, still hurting, still lost, still scared, but alive. And that was more than enough. I think that's why this book wrecked me in the best way, because it reminded me that living isn't about avoiding regret. It's about finding meaning in the mess. It's about realizing that joy and sorrow aren't opposites. They walk hand in hand. And that even the smallest choices, like texting an old friend, showing up to a piano lesson, or just getting out of bed, can be acts of quiet rebellion against despair. If you've ever felt like you missed your chance, if you've ever wondered what your life could have been, if you've ever stood on the edge of giving up, read this book. Let it sit with you. Let it remind you that even our messiest moments are worth fighting for. Because the truth is, you don't need a perfect life to live a meaningful one. You just need this one. And you're still here, and that means something.